Laurel, Laurel, Laurel.
Some people hear Laurel.
Yes.
Some people who apparently are delusional, and me on some, for a while yesterday, I was hearing Yanny, which other people are as well. So what do you hear, and why do we care, and why is this such a big deal? I don't know. Let's find out.
Edward Lobarinas is an expert on hearing and an associate professor at the University of Texas at Dallas. Thank you so much for being here. So, who's right?
It's my pleasure. I've had a lot of fun with this one. In fact, I started getting calls yesterday morning. Eddie, you got to hear this. You got to tell me what you think. And actually, this is in some ways a perfect example of how we hear with our ears, but we listen with our brains. Huh. And so one of the interesting things about this Yanny Laurel is that the acoustic signal is sort of artificial, and it sort of has elements of both. So your ear is actually picking up information on both, but your brain is deciding which one of these two am I going to pick. Now, we spent all morning with my graduate student. I heard Yanny first, and then all I could hear was Laurel. So after I heard Laurel, I went to her and I said, what do you hear? She says, Yanny, how could anyone hear anything else? Right. And so we did a number of interesting things, sort of moving around the room, changing the acoustics a little bit. So there is part of it that's related to, you know, to how you hear and picking up some of the high frequencies. But some of the other variables are not so clear. My mother-in-law, who you would expect might be shifted in one way or another, actually hears both.
So it's not an age thing. Some people were thinking it was an age thing.
Age perhaps only in as much as age is related to high-pitched hearing loss, but even then it's not so clear.
Right, and just like you, I heard in one case, I heard a recording and I heard Yanny. I heard a recording of the recording and I heard Laurel.
It reminds me a little bit of, there's a cartoon where there are two guys that are standing over a 6 that's painted on the floor. And one guy sees a 9 and the other one sees a 6, and they both think that the other one is wrong.
So we're both right. Basically, we're just, this sound that we're hearing is kind of teetering on going either way.
It's very, very clever. You have it in this sort of zone of confusion, and your brain is automatically picking one pattern or the other and changing the acoustics a little bit, sometimes biases you one way or the other.
But with no context. Our brain is doing that with no context. It's not in the middle of a sentence and you're trying to complete the sentence.
There's some talk about whether or not you could bias someone by hearing the word first, but I didn't find that to
Well, like a music lyric. I mean, music lyrics are hilariously misheard, that we think we know this is what it says, and people go, that's not what it, but in that case there is context, and in this case it is absent and it is just the word.
Yep, this is it. And in fact, some people have looked at things like pitch and category discrimination, English speakers trying to listen to Mandarin or something like that.
Right.
So even then they can there's some discrimination ability experiments that are showing that. So I don't think necessarily it's context. You can certainly bias somebody, but it really is kind of playing on the fact that, you know, your brain works on sort of picking one of the two patterns. And so you're picking one or the other, and it's somewhere in between.
Yeah. So we brought a guy with a PhD in here to tell us you don't know, right?
Like a lot of things in pitch perception, you're really not sure.
All right.
It's Laurel.
All right. Well,
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, you're quite welcome. My pleasure.
We appreciate it.